live from the Below the Yellow Line studio. It's the Below the Yellow Line podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Below the Yellow Line podcast. We talked with a couple of short track owners, and what I'm trying to do with this little, mini series on the show is really educate everybody about short tracks, from the most well-known ones to the smaller ones out in the rural areas. Today, we have one that a lot of you have probably heard of, or if you haven't heard of the track, you have heard of the race, or the big race anyway, that takes place. Today, we have Mr. Tim Bryant on our airwaves, the general manager of the Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, the track that, of course, hosts the annual Snowball Derby. So, Mr. Tim, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, Sam. Thank you for including us. And I got to tell you, you've had some heavy hitters on there. When you talk to Mooney Star from Batesville Speedway, you're talking about the elite there. So we're certainly not on that level, at least in our minds. But you know what, we do the best we can here.
Yes, sir. Well, it was an honor to get to talk to Mr. Mooney, especially as a guy, from the natural state. That's, I guess that's technically my home racetrack. So, but thank you so much for coming on the show. And, in my mind, I've, soon when I got into racing about a decade ago, even when I wasn't all in on NASCAR and stock car racing like I am today, I still knew what the Snowball Derby was. I'm not exactly sure how, but I always know when it's happening, and I always try to keep up with it the best you can. I'm going to save the snowball stuff for the end because, save the best for last, right? But I want to know you a little bit more. When did you start your career at the track, and how did you kind of rise to be the GM?
Well, rise and fall, maybe. I don't know. So to give you a real brief family history, we've been around this racetrack for a long time. We were from Fort Walton Beach, which is east of Pensacola. My family was just ate up with racing, and we came to every race they had at Five Flags. They didn't think they could open the gate without us being here. We eventually tried to figure out a way where we could help out and support our families with it. So we got the racing parts business as a sideline amongst the other things that we were doing for a livelihood, and that made us track vendors. We sold racing tires and parts here at the track through a variety of track operators. And in 2003, the owners came to us and said that they were going to close the track. The guy that was here was being evicted, and the track was going to close if we would be interested in helping them keep it open. So we leased it for 3 years and had an option to purchase it. And in 2007, the economy was good. We found a bank that was dumb enough to loan us the money to buy the track, and our story is we've been stuck ever since trying to pay back the loan. So anyway, that's kind of how we got involved in track operation. And we was around the racing for a couple of decades there, and thought, well, maybe we can operate that track certainly better than the ones before us. And we found out right quick it wasn't as easy as it looks. And it's a challenging job for sure. We've had some good years, we've had some bad years. The economy has a direct effect on the success of a short track because it's discretionary spending for most of these racers. When money's there, they want to race, and when money is tight, it's one of the first things to go. So our car counts kind of bounce around up and down, and in the meantime, along the way there, we're running a race the first weekend in December that was started in 1968. No doing of ours. We were just fans and stands back in those days. Called the Snowball Derby, and it's turned into something that is beyond what anybody thought it would be. When we took over the track, Sam, we thought, it's got to be more than just a one race season. We got to, make something out of these other races, and we've worked really, really hard to do that. But over time, we did figure out that every race we run here throughout the season, all is geared towards the Snowball Derby. That's what everybody really wants to participate in, and that's from our pure stock division. And this year, we've even added a crown stock, a new entry level class, right on up through the super late model ranks.
Wow, sounds like you guys are expanding, and you said earlier you don't think you belong in the ranks up there with the heavy hitters. I just want to say I personally think you do, and that's not me, just saying that because you're on the show today. The Snowball Derby is a race that I look forward to every season, and you said that you grew up as a fan of it, coming to the track, and I always love it when there are executives or people in the higher levels of really anything, but that have had that boots on the ground experience either as a fan or an employee, on a lower level or whatever that may be. But as a former fan and now as owner, general manager, whatever your title is, what is your relationship like with the fans, and also what is your relationship like with the drivers that obviously are able to make your job possible?
Well, it's kind of funny. Our relationship with the fans is really good. I mean, there's nothing more gratifying than being at the gate, which I try to do after most of our events, and seeing people as they leave and being able to talk to people and say, man, it was a great show. We'll see you next time. I mean, that's the ultimate compliment. I think the drivers that come here know how hard we try, but it's a tough clientele in today's world. I mean, racers from the entry level divisions right on up to the elite levels. Most racers are spending more than they want to. They're working harder than they want to, and they're not being as dominant as they want to be. So that's a hard group to satisfy a lot of times. But what we concentrate on here, and it's our goal at least. And, we have different levels of success at it, I suppose. But our goal is to provide a good, safe, clean facility to run races at. And then from a competitive point of view, I guess, we try to make it as fair as we can. That's extremely hard in today's world. Racers are way smarter than we are. And so, they're always trying to get one up on us. And, it's unfair to the guy that runs second if we don't pay attention to what the guy that runs first is doing. So, we try to do that in an organized fashion. And we don't like hassling people, and we sure don't like, as some people call it, trapping people or anything like that. We just try to do it as fairly as we can and as consistently as we can.
Absolutely, that seems like a hard line to toe. When you're not a giant sanctioning body. It's funny though. I believe 1976 Snowball Derby winner Darrell Waltrip is infamously one of the I'm not going to say biggest cheaters, but one of the biggest rule makers, certainly in racing history, as his team owner Junior Johnson was as well. Moving right along here, as the owner and general manager of the track, we talked about how you try to provide the best fan experience possible. And from what I've heard from people who have gone to the track, it sounds like you do a great job of that. And obviously you have, a huge race coming back every year. You have plenty of fans going through your gates, no matter the race, every year. Have you had a favorite moment from a fan perspective, from like a racing moment, a promotion moment? What would you say is like your favorite number one moment that you will always remember from your job so far?
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, Sam, that's a hard one to answer because there's been a lot of great moments, and one of the things that we're really cognizant of is to try to not make our track too much about the superstars that come. And we've had some of the best names in racing, some NASCAR champions that have come through here. We have a billboard going into our pit area that we change out every year, and it has a picture of our local division champions on it, and it stays up for the following year. And that's a little element that doesn't get a lot of conversation, but something we're sort of proud of in the back of our mind. We want to make sure everybody goes through those gates, see who those guys are in each one of those divisions that have been champions from the year before. But I will tell you, something happened recently that was a real defining moment for us. It's something that not too many short tracks can claim fame to. But in June of 22, we hosted an SRX race here. It was live on CBS television. we actually spent the whole month of June not racing here, preparing our track and trying to shine it up as best we could for a national television audience. And we did that for a couple of reasons, but we wanted our local people to be proud of what they saw on TV that night. But at the end of that SRX race that night that we had in front of an absolute packed grandstands, Helio Castroneves wins the race and then climbs out and climbs our fence, just like he did at the Indy 500. So that was kind of a proud moment for us, and we have a picture in the office of him at the top of the fence waving to the crowd. That was pretty cool.
I'm sure. Goodness, I can't imagine, seeing people talk about all the time. I've asked him, other owners, what is your defining moment? And they've all been great. They've all been. Some of them have been really sentimental. Some of them have been just hilarious. Like Mr. Movie Stars was. He said he wished he'd never heard of Travis Tritt because he lost about $125,000 on booking Travis Tritt one night. But I'm sure that one is one that you will certainly never forget. An Indy 500 winner celebrating at your track in the same way he did when he won the Indianapolis 500. I think Helio's done that 3 or 4 times. So certainly special. I think I remember watching that race, and to be honest, I knew about the Snowball Derby, like I said before, but I wasn't just all that familiar with Five Flags as just a racetrack with it away from that Snowball Derby. And I think that opened up a lot of eyes. I mean, obviously, millions of people saw that live on national television. I'm sure that's a moment to think about a lot. My last question for you, sir, or maybe not question, but just looking for some info here for all our viewers and listeners. And that is, when is, I know you talked about the local division a lot, and obviously, yes, go support those guys. They are the heart and soul of American racing. I try to make sure that I say that every time I speak to a driver and owner, that they are the heart and soul of it. But the event that, maybe if they don't know what Five Flags is, they know what the Snowball Derby is. You've had Hall of Famer Donnie Allison win it. You've had Daytona 500 winner Pete Hamilton, who's one of my favorites of all time, win it. You had, like I mentioned earlier, Darrell Waltrip, the best rule book author in NASCAR history, win it. You've had so many other names, Butch Lindley, Rich Bickle, just so many other famous names win it. But when is the Snowball Derby this year, and what can fans expect from it?
Well, I'll tell you, it's so this year, Sam, is the 56th annual Snowball Derby, and the real amazing part about that, I believe, is 56 uninterrupted years, which is almost unheard of in short track racing. With all the obstacles our society throws at us these days, it's amazing that we've been able to do that. So, I think God's been on our side. We're on the side of the Snowball Derby. Tom Dawson started the race in 1968. It was a 100-lap event. His name adorns the trophy that we now give to the winner of the Snowball Derby, which is now a 300-lap race. This year, it's going to pay $35,000 to the winner, a couple $1,000s to start the race. So the purse has gone up quite substantially, and we have 4 full days of racing. It starts with
For sure. And, with short tracks being such a big part of the NASCAR schedule now and more maybe being added, you have guys like Ryan Preece, who's always been a great short track racer, add some star power. And, it also probably gives everybody else a little motivation. Oh, a big NASCAR guy coming in here. All right, let's see if we can beat him. Let's gang up and let's see if we can knock him off his pedestal.
Well, sir. Oh, Bubba, okay.
Watch, listen, read about it in the paper, go to their website, go to their Facebook page, just do everything you can because it's an awesome race. And even if you're not interested in the Snowball, go out to Five Flags Speedway, catch one of their local races. Because like I said earlier, those guys truly are the heart and soul, and they are and a very important rung on the ladder is how I like to describe them in the overall racing scene. People sometimes overlook them, but without them, you can't get to the top. So we certainly thank you for coming on the show. We thank you for all you've done for the Speedway and keeping a great short track racing tradition alive. And it was an honor to get to speak to somebody that puts on a race every year that I greatly look forward to. And another fun thing to me about it is that it's always kind of right in the middle of the racing off season. NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, they're all over at that point, and you got a month or 2 or 3 before they all get started. And here's this short track putting on a race with some of the best, some of the stars from those series that, always puts on a great show. So thank you so much for coming on today.